Hello, everyone. I'd like to take a minute and throw myself under the bus. At the beginning of the month, I was looking through some gaming news articles, right? And I came across one that said that Total War, pretty big games, I'm not quite able to wrap my head around them, but I enjoy them a bit. But I was shocked. I saw this article talking about how they were adding a mode, or I think it was an entirely new game, because they have lots of little tiny games. And it was Total War Battle Royale. Yeah, you have a little unit of 10 guys, and you choose where you want to start on the map, and you run around and you try to get new units and expand your forces, and you fight 100 other players. And I thought, great, everything is trying this. Everyone is jumping on this bandwagon, and it's crazy. That was an April Fool's joke. I fell for it completely. It's not like I went on a Twitter rampage or complained about it. But I read that article. It sounded plausible. I put my phone back in my pocket and I moved on with my day. And it's funny because in the weeks since then, I do feel like anything is possible as far as Battle Royale game modes. It feels like ever since the release of Radical Heights, or rather the early release of Radical Heights, every rumor is coming out about Call of Duty. They are going to have a Battle Royale mode instead of a campaign. Battlefield might be doing Battle Royale. Games that already had this mode are scrambling to get a standalone version of it available on consoles. Red Dead Redemption might have one. The list is pretty long and crazy, and I am having flashbacks to several years ago when this exact same scenario was happening with MOBAs. When League and Dota 2 came out, everyone was just scrambling to get a MOBA together as quickly as possible. There's just tons of completely defunct games now that people were playing back then that were trying to compete with those two, and they're gone now. They're all gone. And I have to see the exact same thing happening with this Battle Royale boom. Now, it's one thing for a game that's already established to very quickly add the mode, because that's basically what Fortnite did. I don't really think a lot of people were playing Fortnite, but they slapped together a Battle Royale mode in like 2 months, and it's taken off. It took a little while, but it's taken off. Much like PUBG, which is a game that is also somewhat derivative of Battle Royale modes and mods for games like Arma, DayZ, etc. Now, I don't play any of these games. I've just never really gotten around to it, and I don't really like to play a bunch of different games competitively. It's just not my thing. So this isn't really me saying that these games are bad or anything. I think that they look fairly entertaining. I absolutely see the appeal. But having said that, what is the appeal of something like Radical Heights? What is the appeal of playing a worse version of a game that already exists, that only has maybe slight cosmetic differences at best? I'm not saying that Battle Royale games with unique mechanics can't pop up. I think that because you have series like Call of Duty and Battlefield potentially getting involved, the mechanics of those games could really lend themselves to the mode. I think a Battlefield Battle Royale map would make a lot of sense, actually. But the big issue is, what's the point? If you enjoy these kinds of games, you already have what you need. Fortnite Battle Royale, it's free. There's no barrier to entry. So what advantage does something like Radical Heights, which looks a lot worse because it's visibly an early alpha built from the ground up, unlike Fortnite's mode, have to offer? H1Z1 is Battle Royale mode. What is my incentive to play that, really? If I play PUBG, would I really go out and pay $60 for the new Call of Duty just to play their Battle Royale mode? I don't know. League of Legends, Dota 2, they were both free. PUBG is not, but it's got a relatively low price point for what I think it offers. And because the best MOBAs were free, there was really no reason to try the alternative. They could not thrive. Some of them tried to, and I think 1 or 2 is still around, but so many of them, they just died, because what was even the point? There was a Dead Island MOBA, a Witcher-themed MOBA. You're just taking an IP and you're slapping this game mode on top of it. But something like Radical Heights shows me that you don't even need an aesthetic. You can just slap anything together and people will play it. At least that's what Cliff Bleszinski thinks. I personally think that gamers are not going to be that stupid. You can't play something that looks this early. It looks so ugly because it's blatantly unfinished. And the gameplay doesn't really look at all unique compared to Fortnite or PUBG. Now, I know that I'm just talking about speculative information here, but it really does feel like a pointless endeavor to even make these games. The two top games have already been determined. It's PUBG and Fortnite. There is maybe room for one more to kind of squeeze it out in the way that you have Smite. I think that's still a game people play. There can be a MOBA equivalent of Smite, and we don't know what that is now. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Radical Heights. But it could be something else. It could even be this Call of Duty Battle Royale, especially if it ends up being a standalone application that you can play instead of something that's tacked on to an existing game. But it feels really desperate. You just have all these companies, big and small, trying super hard to capitalize on all of this. And I find it a bit sad because the MOBA thing, it didn't really work out most of the time. Almost everyone who pursued this in the rush did not thrive. It's almost like the market has already moved on from trying to rip off something like Overwatch and to a lesser extent Titanfall. They're moving so quickly to just grab these ideas. And I think that on some level that really says a lot about the developers themselves. They're not really interested in creating anything new. They're just stealing whatever's hot in the moment. I felt this way about Call of Duty for a while. But I think that this is what happens when you're dealing with a genre that is as just stretched thin as the shooter. It's a genre that a lot of people like because it's like a Skinner box. The enjoyment you can get out of it, it can be pretty damn significant. But it feels like pretty much everything that can be done has been done at this point. And people are just putting slightly different coats of paint or tweaks. This Battle Royale mode, it's a big new thing, and therefore everyone is trying to just grab it. And that's not really how game development should work. It's like a fast food item that takes off at McDonald's, so Burger King and Wendy's really quickly rip it off before anyone has a chance to actually ascertain if it was worth ripping off in the first place. I'm getting off track here. Let's wrap things up. Even if these reports and rumors, they end up not being true, I still think that we are in for a rush of this particular game mode, whether it's as clone games or being added to existing games. And I think that that comes down to one very big factor that PUBG and Fortnite both share, which is that they were released to the public in admittedly incomplete states. Early access was a factor for both of these games, and it's very easy for competitors to take the wrong idea from that. You're going to see clones and you're going to see ripoffs because developers are going to think that you don't care, that they can slap anything together and put a price tag on it or put loot boxes in it. And people will excuse whatever's wrong with it because, hey, PUBG and Fortnite, those weren't finished. Don't get me wrong, the stigma against early access games, it's huge. But releases like this have proved that it still doesn't matter. Enough people just don't care. And they're willing to buy something that could essentially just be a con job. Not that I'm alleging any of these games are, Cliff. But either way, be mindful and be aware. And don't trust trailers. And if you're thinking about getting into Battle Royale games, then get into the ones that are already available. Because they've proven themselves. I don't think anyone is going to just come along and release a game that can instantaneously have the polish to compete with PUBG and Fortnite. It's highly unlikely because that kind of thing is going to take years of work, and these companies don't have years if they want to capitalize on this fad. But what do you think about this? Are you looking forward to Call of Duty Battle Royale, or you looking forward to seeing how artistically bankrupt the big publishers can really get? Let me know in the comments, especially if these things actually come out in the future. Just let me know that I guess my concerns were not unfounded. Alright, I'm going to play some Total War. See ya.